Shit, I'm walking the dog. I want to do more lives. Um, let's cook. So I really ain't talked about how I felt about the Lions going into 2024 training camp. Um, uh, as far as how I feel about the team, y'all know I don't do preseason uh, wins and loss. I don't give y'all a record. I have no expectations for the Detroit Lions. I think we all know that at this point. I have no expectations for the Detroit Lions. That doesn't change because they had 2 good years, and I do consider that 8 and 9 season a good year. And 2 years ago, because um, uh, excuse me, because I just think they got off to a slow start because they had a lot of injuries that year. And when they got healthy, when you got injuries, then you already know injuries become contagious, and then you get more injuries, and that's what happened to them. And then last year they was pretty much healthy, so I think it's some interesting things about this team. Like I said, I haven't watched a bunch of Lions content yet. And if I do watch somebody, it's like Man Vs Morris, Micro Mike. Um, but I do think we need more content creators in Detroit sports. So yeah, I would like to make a challenge to somebody or point me in the direction of somebody who got a Tigers and the Red Wings content, because I want to start producing that content too, and I got plans um, to get a press pass for hockey, hopefully in the near future. So um, a lot of people don't know I do enjoy hockey. I used to play the video games in the 90s all the time. So I know a lot of people don't know that, but yeah, I do. I remember I going to the Viper games back in the day. So I'm really into hockey. Used to play baseball. Used to be pretty good. Could do everything but hit a baseball. But there's a story behind that. One day if somebody want that story, I tell it. It's funny. Um, but nonetheless, uh, yeah, man, I'm just looking at the team, and I think it's a couple of things that I haven't really seen too many people press on, because I'm always on the Lions threads on Facebook and Twitter and stuff, or X. And one of the things that I haven't really seen people press on about the Lions is the defensive line. There's been a lot of noise coming out of the camp about two guys. Our first, Brad Holmes' first 2 second-round picks. There's been a lot of talk about them guys bringing a lot of noise this year, and Pascal and Anazorki. And one thing about Anazorki is that, one thing about him is that he had the back injury. And with that back injury, instead of getting the surgery off rip, and one of the reasons he didn't get the surgery off rip is because the surgery would have, it was career ending and a lot of possibilities. Especially the bigger you are, it's harder to recover from those surgeries, backs, hips, stuff like that. And he been making a lot of noise. It's been talks that he been taking some starter reps at the defensive end position opposite of Aiden Hutchinson. Okay, in the 4-3, by the way, even front. So, kind of with that being said, um, Josh Pascal's been getting some reps there too. They both two guys that can play inside out. With Pascal is more of outside in, while Anazorki is more inside out. And Anazorki was one of the smaller defensive linemen. He played with a lot of power. So really that opposite end of Aiden Hutchinson, they looking to have more of a power defensive end there. Somebody who can stop the run. You know what I'm saying? So that's what they pretty much looking for. Somebody that can stop the run in the situations. They also talk, and I haven't heard a lot of people say this, they're trying to make Houston into a Sam linebacker. And I might do a video on that, because somebody had a great response on one of the Lions threads, and it was perfect to that. He said that, I wish I screenshot this brother's name. He said the perfect line. He said, that's one thing I don't like about the Lions. Somebody does good at a position, and I'm paraphrasing, and they put them somewhere else, and they try to reinvent the wheel and shit. And I definitely agree with that. If James Houston is going to be a situational pass rusher, allow him just to be that, and try to perfect that. Don't try to make them stand up and drop. We got some good linebackers, and I know they did that with Derek Barnes. Where Barnes came in as an edge rusher, and they turned him into a three-down linebacker. But James Houston is an exceptional pass rusher, and he should be allowed to do that. He shouldn't have to be allowed to drop and cover and all that stuff. Like, just let him be a pass rusher. Let him be a Justin Houston, a Tom Ali. If he got to stand up on the end, he got to stand up on the end. Do you see Olympics? I haven't seen anything from the Olympics, man, to be honest. I seen a little bit of the South Sudan game this morning. Yeah, I had a long night last night, but long night, but in a good way. Uh, so yeah, I'm gonna get into it today. Um, he said, "Watch out for Houston." Oh yeah, Houston. I want to go to that game this year. Detroit and Houston. I think it's what, Monday night, Sunday night. But shout out to young Elder. But yeah, so yeah, I agree with him on that. Like, they should allow James Houston to flourish as a pass rusher. I'll teach him how to stop the run, and then secondary, we teach him how to drop and cover and all that stuff. You got Rodrigo, you got Barnes, you got I think Jack Campbell gonna have a big year. I'm gonna try to remember to speak on that. And his only really was like the runner-up MVP of defense or the co-MVP last year. I don't think a lot of people gave him a lot of credit for how well he played last year. Um, but uh, But yeah, back to the defensive end. So they both been taking snaps at that defensive end position, Pascal and Anzorki at number one. So really what's going to separate them is pads, when they put the pads on, and how Anzorki back hold up. But I think they need this punch. They both great penetrators, pause, from the defensive line position. So I think they really going to need them on the inside, to be real. Because the way Pascal really penetrate, Lee McNeil, he's been better at penetrating, for sure. Let's call it what it is. Lee McNeil has been pretty good at pass rushing. Uh, he's been pretty good at pass stop. He's been pretty good at pass rushing. So, but we don't know if that's going to continue. I expect it will, because he ain't got paid yet. But but uh, but yeah, they definitely need one of them guys to step up. Pascal, he's always in the backfield, but also he's always on the IR table. Levi Anazorki, he's been on the IR table because of one injury. So if his back can hold up, um, if his back can hold up, we about to water and shit. But if his back can hold up, um, that might be the difference between them being in the Super Bowl, to be honest. Um, Pascal and Anazorki being healthy, that's a whole different type of defensive line right there. Houston coming back healthy. We forget about the kid from Canada, from the CFL. Um, don't forget Barnes can get in there and rush the passer a little bit too. Um, so yeah, the defensive line, that's kind of what I'm looking at right now. Um, because that's really what I'm looking at. Because from the simple fact of they get two of their second round picks, they Brad Holmes 2 second round picks. You know, Pascal, when he's played, thinking of that Kansas City game last year, he made a lot of big plays in that game in the backfield, and that's a good offensive line. So yeah, he made a lot of good plays. So his ability to penetrate, and stop the run and get after the passer, then that should tell you, well, Aiden Hutchinson should have a good year. McNeil should have a good year. Reader's there to be a plugger. That's what Reader's there for. Reader's there to eat up space and free up everybody else. So, I think that's one of the things I think people ain't talking about enough. You know, that defensive line, because you got some guys that's coming up on some contract years on that line, or coming up on possibly being cut. So, to me, I think that's one of the most interesting storylines. That's one of the most interesting storylines for the Lions that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about it. They trying to stand up Houston when he great at pass rushing. Anazorki going from the outside, inside to outside a little bit more. And we always expected that to happen. But also maybe he play a little. Maybe they gonna plan on have him be a little bit lighter instead of gaining weight to play on the trenches. Because when you got that back injury, it's probably better if you be a little bit lighter. He's not a heavy person though. If you look how he built like a slimmer Ndamukong Suh. But that's why they drafted him, because he reminds you of Ndamukong Suh, from the nasty attitude, from the violent hands, from the athletic ability. Obviously, Suh was like 20, 25 pounds heavier. Okay, and maybe he was lighter because of the back, trying to take the load off the back. Pause. No diddy. So that's what I'm just trying to figure out. But that might just be his frame. So I was very excited when they drafted him. Um, and I said last year he was the key to them, being that team to make the jump. And had they had him healthy, and he would have came into the league healthy, I mean, I think they would have won the Super Bowl last year. I think he that important. They was missing, and everybody look at when you missing that extra pass rusher. Everybody look, everybody look at that pass rusher. Everybody look at the edge. The most important pass rusher, the most important pass rush is the one right up the middle of the defense's quarterback's face. That's the most important pass rusher. So if they can get pressure from the defensive tackle position, that's all Hutchinson need. That's all he needs. So, yeah, I want to speak on the defensive line a little bit, because a lot of people, ignoring it. Now, the defensive backfield is another thing that I think a lot of people are interested in. I seen I seen Terrion Arnold make a play on St. Brown yesterday. Stuck on his hip, made a play on the ball. Got his head turned back around. Remember when we used to play the Bears, and they had Brandon Marshall, and they had another receiver. I can't remember this man's name. He was a taller receiver. Somebody just mentioned his name online. I forget the guy's name. Oh man, it's the dude that won with the Eagles, Alshon Jeffries. Remember they had Marshall and Jeffries, and there was one game they played at Ford Field, and they was just putting their balls on our DB's helmet. Pause. No, Diddy for them DBs, 'cause they was ass. They was just jumping up, and they was getting touchdowns and getting big chunks down the field, and our DBs would never get their head around. Pause. They would never turn their head. They would never turn their head. They ain't never do that. They would never turn their head. And to see Terrion Arnold last year turn his head, or this year, and play the ball, every time I see a Lions DB turn their head to play the ball, I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful, because it was a long time when we had defensive backs that wouldn't turn their head. But the DB is an interesting thing. One of the interesting things that maybe not a lot of people talking about is that Emmanuel Mosley is healthy, which I don't understand why this motherfucker's back on the team. But he healthy. And with him being healthy, him and Mick Robertson is fighting for the nickelback position. Right? So that's who fighting for the nickelback. Now, Ennis Rackstraw said that he's an outside corner, and I'm going to get to all that in a second. He said that it's adjustment, him playing in the nickel, and it is. The nickel, just because he a corner, and y'all seen Brian Branch as a safety last year, you said, well, Rackstraw should be able to play nickel because Branch did it. Now, it's an acquired taste to play nickel because it's an all-way go. Think about it. The nickel can go behind the quarterback on a sweep, or the side receiver can go behind the quarterback on a sweep. He can go left, he can go right, he can go up, he can go at a 90-degree angle. I mean, for God's sakes, he could do a whole 360. So once you start talking about the things that the slot can do, you don't have a boundary to protect you. So you got to learn to get in there and play. So you got to learn to get in there and play that nickel. So he's more of an outside corner. But the thing about it is, if the kid from Tampa Bay, if the guy in Tampa Bay don't work out, Carlton Davis, the second, is it? They got Rackstraw to step in eventually and be that corner. So you got to remember, they never paid the corner Carlton from the Bucks. So he on a prove it deal. And on top of that, they drafted Rackstraw and Terrion Arnold. Why did you think they drafted both of them? One was to replace Cam, eventually replace Cam, whatever the dude name that we got in trouble, got cut. was to replace him, and one was to replace Carlton if he didn't play well. So it's no real pressure on Rackstraw to start at nickel. It'll help his development. And I know you probably like, where's Brian Branch going if Amick and Manuel Mosley fighting for corner for nickelback? Well, Branch is going back to his natural position of safety. I did a video on it, so I won't harp on this long. Dan Campbell said he can make more plays at safety than nickel. I agree. But the thing about the nickelback thing with him is that his ability to tackle allowed them to play a nickel coverage against heavy coverages, against heavy formations. Single back, two tight ends, two receivers, one back, I formation. You know, most teams coming out in three wides at least now. But even when they came out heavy, you can leave Brian Branch out there and you don't have a liability in the running game. That's the beautiful thing about it. And you don't have a liability in the running game. So when you can leave a nickel out there and he can stop the run as good as a linebacker, but then also he can cover tight ends and cover, backs out the backfield and receivers that slotted up in those formations, and you ain't got to rotate your corner over. I mean, it's a blessing. It's a real blessing. So Branch is a good player. What do I think about him moving to safety? I love it because he can make more plays. I mean, I really look at them to have a traditional safety set between Branch and Kirby. And what I mean by traditional, Kirby Joseph is a free safety. He's a deep half for safety, deep middle robber. He's one of them guys that can go sideline to sideline. He make plays on the ball coming downhill. He make plays, turn his head around. He make plays. Now, Branch, can he do that? Absolutely. Can they both stop the run? Absolutely. But the difference comes here. Brian Branch can guard people man-to-man coverage. Kirby Joseph can't. And that's one thing we learned last year, that Kirby Joseph, he couldn't guard guys one-on-one and man-to-man coverage. And that's why he's a safety. I remember Braylon Edwards said it in one of the Jets playoff games years ago. He said safeties are corners who don't have the feet to play corners. In a lot of situations, that's true. So Kirby Joseph one-on-one and man-to-man coverage, that's just something that he got to improve on. Y'all can double tap the screen to like the video. I appreciate it. Salute. So that's the thing about it. So Kirby Joseph can stop the run. He can be an enforcer across the middle. But Brian Branch could do everything. He can stop the run. He can play man-to-man. He can play zone. He can play the deep half. They both can pick the ball off. So there'll be more opportunities for him, because when you play nickel, what if they come out heavy? Two tight ends, fullback and running back, one receiver. Then in them situations, you got to put Barnes in. You know what I'm saying? You got to put additional linebacker in. So, yeah. So with Branch, he'd be on the field at all times at safety. He had more opportunities to still guard in the slot, still guard tight ends, receivers, but he'd be able to come downhill a lot more. And and you probably like, what's gonna happen to F.A. Melifano? He's gonna be one of them dudes that's a utility guy. So you'll see certain situations, or you might see, a Branch back in the nickel, F.A. Melifano at safety, and Kirby at safety. You might see situations that F.A. Melifano is the dime guy, the dime corner. You might see situations where he's playing number one corner. He's just an all-around utility player. So he's going to play everywhere. There might be some situations where you see him just playing nickel. He might play star. He can do literally everything. People don't understand how talented he is. He held his own, really locked down Devontae Adams in that Monday Night Football game we got robbed. So you're going to see him all over the field. But, they got a lot of versatility in that backfield, in that defensive backfield. It's bananas. Because you think about it, if you really needed that dude, Terrion used to play safety too. So if you really needed that safety, Kirby Joseph to play strong safety, he could. He's excellent in run support. So they really got a lot of versatility. I mean, Carlton Davis, great man-to-man cover. Rackstraw, you know what I'm saying? He more man-to-man. He going to have an opportunity to learn. Don't forget, we still got Vidor. Even though he made the blueprint in the NFC Championship game, he still got his head around. Pause, no diddy. But he was only there for like maybe not even a half a season for us. So yeah, man, the defensive backfield, man. Rackstraw will be able to learn at his own discretion. You're going to have injuries back there. Historically, Carlton, he going to get injured. But Terrion Arnold already looking good, playing with a lot of confidence. Rackstraw going to continue to learn the nickel and the outside. So It's gonna take time. I mean, if y'all anybody play basketball, what's the number one thing that they tell you to do on defense? Communicate. We must communicate. So they got to communicate. And just because they play a lot of man-to-man coverage, you got to know the assignment. You got to know the help behind you. You got to know what happened when the NFL do a lot of motion. When we pass off this assignment, who take the inside guy? Who take the breaking guy? In the deep half of the field, this your assignment. And then they going to play zone too. So it's going to be a lot of them learning each other. So it's not going to look like spreading bread on butter. It's not going to be that easy. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna see some blown coverages. Um, that you will see. You will see blown coverages. You will see issue, but it just take time. When you got that many new members in the defensive backfield, think about it. The safeties are gonna be the same. Branch, well, he'd be at safety for the first time for real. So you talking about Branch, Melifanu, um, Kirby Joseph, um, and all these other guys is probably new. Terrion, Carlton, um, Rackstraw, and Vitor, he's the guy that been there, but he wasn't there long. But we get that to him. He got enough to accrue an actual season with us. I think it's three active games. You get a season in the NFL towards retirement. So Terrion, Rackstraw, Amick, um, Davis, and then really Mosley. He been here, but he really ain't been here. He played like 2 snaps of a game. So to me, he's still new too. So there's a lot of new faces back there that's gonna be playing. Him. I thought Mosley should retire, but I'm not telling him what he should and shouldn't do. But me personally, I thought he'd be better at safety. But a nickelback ain't bad for him. He a good tackler too. So they got a lot of experience in the backfield. They got a lot of youth in the backfield, and on top of all of that, they got a lot of versatility. So, and for the hell of it, we gonna talk about the kickers, the backers, and I talk some offense too. This nigga out here coughing. I gotta get him some cough medicine. I'll go get it today. But man, he chilling. He was in the house a lot of yesterday. Well, he walked enough. I went to see Deadpool Wolverine. Goated. I ain't gonna lie. That and the Millions movie that came out, Despicable Me 4, both of them was good. If I had to get an edge to one of them, it's close. I'm gonna give it to Deadpool Wolverine. And then B. Taylor sent me, friend of the show. He could be a co-host. That nigga don't be never have a time. I don't blame him. Me neither. I don't be doing these lives like that. But uh, he just sent me that Robert Downey Jr. is gonna be the new Doctor Doom and shit. I said, go get that old motherfucker that did it before. I liked him. But how you gonna have him as Iron Man and Doctor Doom? But we already know they doing the whole multiverse thing. I'm sick of that shit. Especially if Jonathan Majors ain't gonna come back. But let's talk about the linebackers. It'll be short. I thought Anazzoni was the co-MVP of the defense last year with what's the buddy name with Aiden Hutchinson. Um, I love Aiden Hutchinson. Um, I didn't really want to draft him. I forgot who I wanted. Who all went high? It wasn't him, and I didn't want Walker. Was it Sauce? I don't know if I ain't want no Sauce. I like Sauce though. I would because of Jeff Okuda though. So if y'all can remind me, who the fuck did I want the Lions to draft? I can't even remember, but it was the right pick. How about that? I was wrong. Um, Hutchinson looked way more athletic with the Detroit Lions than he did at Michigan. But at Michigan too, I gotta remember. Come here. He played linebacker. He played defensive tackle at Michigan too. So so he had extra weight on him on that Michigan. A lot of times at Michigan, that's probably what I remember. But dog was the best pick we could have had. And Trayvon Walker coming on too though. Oh, I wanted to do from that went to Giants. What's the dude that went to the Giants from Oregon? That's who I wanted. Kayvon Thibodeau. He's solid over there. He might lead the league in sacks next year because they got that dude from Carolina. So he might. That Giants defense not bad at all next year. They got that dude from Carolina I liked a lot. He sacked Golf last year. I forget his name. Motherfucker nice. I wasn't gonna pay him all that money though, but he nice. But who else? But yeah, I thought Anazzoni was the MVP last year, co-MVP. Um, Dog a problem. Come on. Yeah, dog a problem. Um, so I see why they paid him. I think that was imperative. He got Jack Campbell. I think he gonna make one of the biggest leaps. I think he gonna make one of the biggest leaps for the Detroit Lions. So this year, I think Jack Campbell, he might be the team's MVP this year. To be honest, he might be the team's MVP. And with him, he looked good. And nobody really talked about him. They mentioned him, but nobody really talked about him and how well he was improving last year. He's making a lot of plays. I think he might have got some deflections, some picks. So I like Jack a lot. Anazoni and Jack, um, they really good together. Derek Barnes, I know a lot of people got mad he missed that tackle on Dak Prescott, but it ended up working out in their favor. And that's like sometimes you got to understand things happen for a reason, and sometimes we don't understand, why these things happen in life. But think about how funny this is, and I talked about this. He missed that tackle on Dak. In retrospect, that would have been a football game. For what we seen, momentum is a mofo. You know what I'm saying? Momentum is a mofo. So once he missed that tackle. That gave them life. They scored a touchdown on that play. But him missing that tackle and how the refs played us in Dallas, they draw Green Bay. Green Bay beating us on Thanksgiving. They needed to make the playoffs. All that happened for Green Bay to pop the fuck out of Dallas. And we got 2 home games in the playoffs, and I'm not going to continue to harp on the 49er game, because anytime somebody show a good highlight, or they talk about the game, I almost want to come to tears. I don't want to talk about that game. Shout out to them and bitch ass Debo Samuels. I don't like that hoe. And if you follow my other channel, you know why. I'm not going to bring it up. So, um, but it was a good game by them. I don't really have no ill will other than bitch ass Debo Samuels. But I like Ayuk, Purdy. I love the story. Um, McCaffrey. I was one of the only black people on my timeline on Facebook. I said McCaffrey really can play. He ain't no Toby Gerhardt. So I like McCaffrey a lot. Liked him in college. I liked his dad in Denver. When I wasn't rooting for the Lions back in the day, Terrell Davis is my boy. John Elway, my favorite quarterback of all time. People be shocked. It's not Michael Vick. It's not Randall Cunningham. You stereotyping the black man. Elway was my boy. But nonetheless, Jack is phenomenal. Barnes, I heard he having a great camp. He was good last year. Rodrigo, heard he having a good camp already. So he really good at linebacker. I look for Jack Campbell to make the next step to be one of the better linebackers in the league. I think people are gonna start seeing he in that top 5 range next year. I think Anazoni really he creeping in that top 10 range if people want to be real. So. Um, Got a lot of depth there. Got a lot of good players there. They fit the system. They may not be Navarro Bowman, Patrick Willis, Luke Kuechly. Um, I don't know who no good linebacker. Oh, what's the kid out there? Fred Warner. They may not be those guys right now, but they coming. No Diddy, they coming. No Diddy. But yeah, about the kicker situation, I think we ain't really never talked about kickers. Michael Badgley tore his hamstring. I'm like, damn. And he was like Mike said, he was reliable. But I never really had confidence in double tap the screen and like the video. I appreciate y'all. I never had confidence in Badgley. Make sure y'all get y'all sun this morning. It's a vitamin D deficiency amongst human beings. Best way to get vitamin D from the sun, get you a vitamin D supplement, especially y'all fellas out here that want to be great in the bedroom. Vitamin D is very important. Zinc is very important. Check my Patreon up on my other channel. I talk about that on my Goodfella TV Patreon about human men vitality, sexual health. So yeah, I talk about that over there. But I'll give y'all free vitamin D, vitamin E, zinc. Great. But nonetheless, but yeah, tore his hamstring, and then as soon as he tears his hamstring, Jake Bates he goes 5 for 5 one day, and he had a terrible day of practice. I think it was yesterday yesterday or it's Friday. He had a terrible day of practice. So they bringing in some more kickers as soon as Bashley got hurt to compete. They can't just hand him the job. I've never heard none of these kickers. I don't know what happened with Riley Patterson. I don't even remember him missing too many kicks. So I'm surprised they didn't try to bring him back to compete with Bashley. I thought he was pretty solid. Remember last year they had, Patterson was kicking well, and then they just got rid of Patterson and brought Badgley back. So I never understood what happened with that, but we don't know what type of personalities they have in the locker room neither. Um, so yeah, I mean, Bates is a fan favorite, but you don't know how he gonna kick in a live game. You don't know how he gonna kick if you playing in Philadelphia in the cold. You don't know how he gonna kick with the game on the line. So we got a lot of ifs. If it was a fifth, we all be drunk. So it's a lot of ifs going around the Detroit Lions organization as far as the kickers and all that. So Badgley won't be back. I know the one kicker from Denver got in trouble. He got into some female trouble. So I don't know where that case is at. We know it's a lot of crying wolf amongst females and stuff of that nature. Um, Go, bye. It's a lot of wolf, amongst females crying wolf or whatever. So McManus was his. So what if McManus become available? So we'll see. But right now, he still is the favorite to win the kicking job in Jake Bates. So, I mean, one bad day, I don't think it defines you. We so heavy on negativity. You could be scrolling through the comment section on social media, and your mind just instantly finds the negative thoughts or the negative comments. It's crazy to me. And one thing you notice is that you look into a lot of comments. It could be a positive video. Humans got a way of making it negative. I think those be bots though. A lot of these negative comments be bots, but nonetheless. Well, let's talk about the offense. That's what y'all are here for. Let's talk about the offense. It ain't really much to talk about, man. Really, outside of the receiver position, Gibbs is Gibbs. Montgomery is Montgomery. Montgomery Wards, David Montgomery. Come on. Uh, Laporta. But I do think some additions that I like coming back healthy. You got a healthy Khalif Raymond that wasn't in the championship game or a couple playoff games. You got a healthy Shane Zelstra coming back. He's a phenomenal receiving tight end. Um, you got a healthy Brock Wright, no dings, no bangs. We signed him back from the 49ers. Actually, you got a healthy Laporta coming back. He wasn't healthy. Nobody's really healthy at the end of the season. Apparently, we found out that St. Brown wasn't healthy. And it don't look like the Lions gonna get fined publicly for not, reporting his injury. So that's interesting. That's because they want teams to keep doing documentaries because that brings the NFL money. Anything that brings NFL significant money, you get a pass, right? So unless they silently fined them, or they probably condemned them on the phone a little bit about it. But all teams do that shit. It was a huge thing with Belichick years ago. Um, so what else we got there going on? Receiver battle. We got rid of Josh Reynolds. Either we gonna find out Josh Reynolds' worth, or we gonna get some breakout candidates. The only bad thing I don't like about the receiver position right now is that the guys that they depending on, at least J-Mo and DPJ, Donovan Peoples-Jones, they just historically had injury issues. So two guys that's always broken up. So Antoine Green is going to be very, very important, and Khalif Raymond. So that's why a lot of people want them to go trade for Ayuk or go trade for an additional receiver. But you moved up and got Jameson Williams for a reason. Um, yeah, you moved up and got J-Mo. Um, you know, you traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones last year. I think that was the Josh Reynolds replacement. And let's talk about him for a minute. Guy that went to Cash from Detroit, got all the physical talent in the world, had really one good year in Cleveland. I can't remember who the quarterback was. And he was phenomenal. He was phenomenal that year. Phenomenal at Michigan when he can play. He make a lot of plays down the field. Big receiver, athlete, can return kicks and punts, can get those jump balls. I mean, I think he had all the talent and potential to be a Pro Bowl caliber receiver, top 15, 10 type of receiver. He just can't stay healthy. And you look at him, he look in good physical shape. It's just some guy's body ain't really built for the grind like that. So, yeah, some people's body ain't built for that grind. But if he can stay healthy, I think him and Goff will have a good rapport down the field. Big, tall guy, can get it. What, he about 6'3"? Can jump and get the ball. Hold on. He gonna be hard headed. There we go. Yeah, he can jump and get the ball. Um, so yeah, and then J-Mo, he making a bunch of plays in t-shirts and shorts. And that's good because he wasn't making them same plays in t-shirts and shorts in camp. So yeah, he doing some good things. We know he gonna bring more athleticism. So that's one thing that you're hearing when you getting DPJ and J-Mo, you getting more athletic ability. So Reynolds was a good athlete. He was more of a possession guy. He could run too, but he was more of that possession guy that get downfield and catch it. More of that Keenan McCardell type of guy. My guys that follow football back in the day. One of the best receivers nobody speak about. Um, why you want to keep going to the bushes, bro? But yeah, but now you got two guys that's more explosive. And then Antoine Green, explosive guy. So they got guys that could do some things and make the offense that much more explosive. You know, they can catch it and it could be six. So they should get more chunk yards this year. If they can open up the chunk yards on the outside more consistently, you know, it's not just Josh Reynolds. That was your outside game last year, was Josh Reynolds. Now you got Diamond Peoples-Jones. They got some time, had some time in with Jared Goff. Now you got J-Mo who's starting to click with Jared Goff because he's starting to get healthy. He's starting to mature physically and mentally and emotionally. And then you got Antoine Green, who Brad Holmes on 97 on the ticket a couple months ago said they really like what they seen from him behind the scenes. So he really starting to develop. So you got three guys that can take it to the house at any given time. You know, so when you start having three guys that can run it, that can really catch it and run after the catch, and get downfield, golf numbers should go up this year. It should look like the year he had Brandon Cooks. That's what it should look like. So yeah, they got, and then like I said, about J-Mo, the maturity coming. He getting stronger. He attacking the ball a lot better. You got to remember, he was a guy at Bama who didn't have a lot of reps. Yeah, he was a guy at Bama who didn't have a lot of reps. So, so when he didn't have a lot of reps at Bama, or in college in general, at Bama he had a lot of reps, but in college in general he didn't. So he's still pretty much learning the position. So, yeah, so it's gonna be interesting at receiver. But if you gonna bet on these receivers, or you gotta just stick with them. But if you eventually feel like you need a receiver, you better off going to get the receiver right now, because last year they got lucky. A few years ago they got lucky with Josh Reynolds. Him and Goff had a rapport, so the transition was easy. Diamond Peoples-Jones and Goff, it wasn't easy. They didn't have a rapport, so it's hard to get a rapport in the middle of the season, no matter who the receiver is. You see how good Peyton and Harrison was. You see how good Brady the Moss was. That all takes time. That all takes time. Yep, that all takes time. So they don't happen overnight or in the middle of the season. But nonetheless, Shane Gestra is another guy. So now you're really gonna see them attack the middle with Shane Gestra. He get them another athletic, shifty guy. He put you in a mindset of Laporta without the blocking ability, but he's one of them dudes that you gotta account for. So you're gonna see a lot of 3 tight ends, 2 tight end sets, Zestra in the slot, in the red zone. So Zestra make them, I don't think a lot of people are talking enough about Shane Zestra. He make them even more dangerous, for real. Because how you really gonna guard them now? You can split him out wide in the red zone. He can go get a touchdown. He can run routes. He's a real smooth ass receiver, tight end. He real smooth. So you got another really good route runner. So with that being said, I like what they doing. Brock right back healthy. Blocker, We seen him run in the Jets game a couple years ago. He can run. So their offense gonna look a lot better. Then you got Gibbs and Montgomery. Montgomery can catch the ball, and you gonna see Gibbs playing in the slot, playing that receiver more. Dead sweeps to him. Go more to him. He gonna improve as a receiver next year too. So really, if the receiver game don't pop off on the outside, they got alternative options with Wright coming back. James Mitchell, hopefully he take a step. He probably won't. He's athletic. Zestra, you know, the running backs catching the ball out the backfield. Oh, don't forget the kid they got out of Utah, Vito. His ability to catch the ball out the backfield and run the ball. So they got a lot of alternative options that allow them to draw more plays. But what's going to be dangerous about the offense is they can fix the goddamn third quarter. How about that? Third quarter was their biggest weakness last year. Their third quarter was a bigger weakness than the defensive backfield. For real. Third quarter was the biggest weakness, even more than the cornerbacks. Every game they lost last year, it had something to do in the third quarter. Games they won that should have been wider was the third quarter. So that's something to think about. But one thing about their weaponry, they got a plan if the receiver don't work out on the outside. They got a plan. Because they got a bunch of other weapons they got that you got a plan for. They got a bunch of other weapons they want to plan for. So when we start talking about, you know, Zestra, Laporta, Wright, Gibbs, Montgomery, catching out the ball out the backfield. The guy from Utah catching the ball out the backfield. You want to be stubborn? Go on. So once you start talking about all the different options they got, lining this guy, still got Khalif Raymond. So they got a lot of options out there. So offensively, while running the ball, the new offensive line, you know, they changes they made. They're going to have to gel together. It's going to take some time, but that'll happen. That'll happen. That'll happen. So, that'll happen. But, read some of these comments. He said Detroit Lions all the way. Chief Red Cloud said Lions beat the Rams game 1. I don't know. But Aaron Donald ain't there. But Stafford playing the best football I've seen him. So I really got to see what they working with this year. So I can't call it because I don't know the Rams. They got that good rookie defensive tackle from last year. He said, B's TV salute Monday, the first pattern practice. Oh, yeah, that's what I want to see. Let me know how that nigga back feel after that pattern practice. Yeah, it was Kayvon. I know he over there doing solid. It's just that Vanilla Vic holding everybody back out there. Hold on. What up, Justin? He said both have better D-lines than they use them. He said both have better D-line than around them. Yeah, I agree. Talking about Kayvon and Woody. He said, interview said, I think the Lions blowing the Rams out. They lost their starting corner. Yeah, I seen that brother blow his knee on. Rest in peace to the brother from Minnesota. Rest in power to Kyrie, man. Sorry to hear that. You know, God take you all that way just to almost be in your dream. And, you know, everything happened for a reason. Prayers go out to his family. He said, Jack will improve with the addition of DJ Reader. We should have 2 linebackers, 100 plus. Yeah, I can see that. And it's only him. 49ers fall apart. Well, yeah, I mean, the reason they falling apart, and I don't want to get racial, but I got to. They ripped up McCaffrey's deal and gave him a new deal. Miles. They ripped up his new deal, gave him a new deal when ain't nobody else playing running backs. Ain't nobody ripping up running backs deals and giving him a new deal. So they said, damn, they paying him, and he's very important to what they do. Let's not get it twisted. But you don't want to pay Ayuk, you know. And Trent Williams like, damn, I'm important too. You want to pay me? Y'all ripping up and giving him a new deal. And you got to understand too, McCaffrey and Shanahan connection go all the way back to Denver. So they knew him since a little kid. I always tell y'all, it's who you know, not what you know most of the time. So, it's a tough season for us this year, but we're going all the way. Yeah, it's always tough. Green Bay is better. Shout out to Jordan Love for getting the bag. Always happy to see brothers getting the bag. So I was one of the few. I mean, I was talking about Jordan Love when Packer fans wasn't. They ain't believe in Jordan Love. I knew he can play from the draft. I grew up off Terrell days. My pops had the jersey. Those with some clean. Oh, facts, facts. That's my boy. Them my boys. When you talking about when I wasn't like all in for Barry, it was TD, Terrell Davis, LaDainian Tomlinson, Corey Dillon, and Fred Taylor. Them was my boys. Them was my boys all day. Them was my boys, bro. Them was my boys. Rod Sharp, Antonio Atwater, Ed McCaffrey, Shannon Sharp. He said Donovan can play. He proved in Cleveland when he was watching dimes with throwing down catching dimes from Baker. Okay, Baker was the quarterback. I remember that. Shout out to Juan. He said Cecil say Keenan McCardell is a quarterback coach for the Vikings. He coached Stephon Diggs too. Damn, he's still out here coaching. Hell of a person. Hell of a receiver. Him. Miles. Hold on real quick. Come on. No. Miles. Miles. Come on. Yeah, I fuck with him. Him and Jimmy Smith. You know, Jimmy Smith is originally from Detroit. A receiver from the Jaguars. He was born in Detroit. I didn't know. Brees Hall said in the pivot interview, because it don't say it on Wikipedia. It said he was born in Omaha, Nebraska. But Brees Hall said he was from the Jets and from Iowa State, which I thought the Lions should have drafted. But nonetheless, he said he was born in Detroit. So, fun fact, Brees Hall, because he said on the pivot interview, and receiver Jimmy Smith, they were born in Detroit. Y'all don't know that. I think Derek Mason from the Titans, I think that's the receiver from the Titans. He from Detroit, he went to Mumford. Shout out to Mumford Mustangs. Along with Jefferson, Addison, helped get them where they are. They could have used him. Oh yeah, for sure. And Addison got in trouble. J-Mo gonna be a beast this year. You know, everybody loves J-Mo. J-Mo like our little brother, our son. We love J-Mo in Detroit. You know, Ebron didn't get the same love because Ebron wanted to talk shit back. J-Mo was like our little brother. Some of our son, we love J-Mo in Detroit. He do a lot in the community. Ebron wanted to just go back and forth with niggas and shit. I learned that you can't win an argument with everybody. Jameson Williams, his father, played it well. But Ebron, I mean, he had talent. He had a really good year with Indianapolis. So, yeah. He had a really good year in Indianapolis. When Andrew Luck went down, his career went down. Didn't he make a Pro Bowl? Maybe sure I double tap the screen for the boy. Didn't he make a Pro Bowl? My dog's so hard-headed. I'm going to put your training collar back on you. You're going to be a senior citizen with a training collar. Because every time the Lions had a lead going into Alcon, they won the game. Man, hey, that Packer game, they cut it kind of close to Green Bay. That third quarter was trash. Even in some of the games they won, I guarantee you go back and look at it, third quarter was slower than molasses. What's up? I can't pronounce your Mercurius Salute. Interesting name. I like that name. I know I'm saying it wrong. But yeah, it's gonna be fun next year. It's gonna be real fun. And you know, one thing that can derail us is just, you know, health and not being used to playing with a target on our back. But I kind of dispel that because we played with a target on our back last year. We played with a target on our back. And let me see. That girl still asleep. We played with a target on our back last year. And the target was that they expected us to win a championship. To win a division championship last year. We was picked to win the North. So, with that being said, we was picked to win the North. So we had a target on our back last year. So that was what it was. Chicago Thanksgiving for me. I'm good on the Thanksgiving game. I worked a couple of Thanksgiving games, and I'm good. I don't even want to talk about it. I couldn't even tell y'all what this man wife did to me on Thanksgiving. I ain't never want to go to another one again. I'm good. The traffic was horrible to get home. But when I did security at Ford Field, I had the fun. That was a fun ass job. That was a fun job. We had so much fun. We got to work the Super Bowl, so I had fun doing that. It's just on Thanksgiving, I ain't like the vibe. Y'all Karens couldn't keep their hands off your boy. Shit was wild. I had to start like standing with my female coworker like we was together. I'm like, She was cool about it though. I ain't like that shit. I could have a Me Too book myself. I remember the guy was telling me in his section, he was telling me that one of the guys, because once you there so long, you get your own section. Like, you know the ticket holders, they know you. And one guy was texting, he was with his girlfriend. His girlfriend was texting this shit. And you know how the seats is at Ford Field, any stadium. And he texting the girl texting another guy. So the guy behind him wrote a letter. When the game was over, he passed the guy the letter. He passes the guy the letter, and the letter tells him, your girlfriend was texting another dude at the game. So I don't know what happened. If dude left him or he read the letter when they got in the car, but females stick together like that. So I don't see no harm, no foul. She texting another dude while you took her to the Lions game. Them tickets ain't, I mean, even if he got the tickets for free, and they were some good tickets, you know, they ain't cheap. They ain't cheap at all. So, they ain't cheap at all. So, bro code. But yeah, I don't do Thanksgiving gang. I'm good. Then you gotta deal with the parade traffic, the turkey run, whatever they call that bullshit. I'm good. Horrible experience. Horrible experience. But I ain't knocking nobody. I was there when Sue stumped his arm. I was on the 50-yard line, working on the 50-yard line. I was right there. That was the same day Karen put her hands on. I'm like, absolutely not. I'm not into none of that cuck shit. Keep it moving. I was in great shape in my life too at that point. I was in phenomenal shape. I'm in good shape, and I'm slipping a little bit right now. It's the summertime. I went to this joint yesterday in West Bloomfield called Nars. That shit was good. It's better than Benihana's. I'll give them that. That shit was expensive though. Women been putting on Red Bull books for decades. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. That's true. But let me get out of here, man. Appreciate y'all for rocking with me this Sunday morning. I'll get all the way back to my apartment, and mosquitoes want to try me now. They must be waking up. Peace.